Hello and welcome to SEC Network coverage of women's softball from John Crop Stadium on the campus of the University of Kentucky on a sunny but chilly afternoon. Number 18 Wildcats getting ready to take on the Bulldogs in Game 2 of this 3-game set. Hello and welcome, Pam Ward, along with 3-time All-American Jenny Dalton-Hill. And second weekend in the SEC as far as conference play is concerned. It was a great weekend last weekend for Kentucky as they swept South Carolina, picked up where they left off last night.
Definitely did. Came in, scored a lot of runs. It was a shortened game because of that run rule victory. Mississippi State, because of that performance, has switched things up defensively all over.
It was an 8-0 win. 7 of the 8 runs were unearned. However, Kentucky got it going with Mallory Payton in the first inning.
Able to bust in that first run, but it was the Katie Reed show that was really of note yesterday. A 3-run home run in that first inning to take the score 4-0, and then again in the third would come away with another 3-run home run. That would tie a school record with 6 RBI in one game. Katie Reed doing so well at the plate, pushed them ahead with lots of runs, but it was Autumn Humes in the circle that was able to dish down in the zone, up in the zone, getting the swing and a miss from Mississippi State. Absolutely struggling in the circle, and Kentucky able to come away with it, 8-0.
And Katie Reed, you talked about her at the plate, tying the school record for RBIs in a game. She had a couple of home runs, also a terrific student athlete as well, and was really huge in Game 1. The pitching matchup, Alyssa Loza and Grace Bauman get the ball. And
both of them really the aces in the circle for both of their teams. The ERA for Bauman may look a little bit high, but it's because she's really taken a charge of the toughest games that Kentucky's had on their schedule.
The Mississippi State trying to bounce back from a tough night last night. Again, they lost 8-0 in a run rule game, and they take a look at their starting lineup and what pops out for you. How about hitting .547, Mia Davidson?
Well, and she's leading the NCAA in home runs, RBIs, and slugging percentage. So right now, that third slot for Mississippi State, a lot of power coming from there.
Candice Dennis leading things off for them, and they will be facing Kentucky starter and Grace Bauman.
Bauman in the circle has been the ace that the arm of Kentucky has been relying on. She steps in with a lot of poise, very stoic in the circle, not a lot of emotion, but has really handled the toughest opponents on UK's schedule this season so far.
Yeah, very interesting personality as well for Grace Bauman, who is a terrific artist as well. And we are about to get underway just after noon in Lexington.
And Bauman in the circle will throw in the mid-60s. She's got a rise, a curve, a change, and a fastball that she throws to spots. She's added a drop ball this year to her arsenal, but it's that changeup that she mixes confidently now in any count.
And she's facing Candice Dennis. You mentioned that Van Studeman really shook up her lineup. Dennis, the ball is hit over to third, and very nifty play by Abby Cheek, who happens to be the power hitter for Kentucky. And one away.
The key to a good defense is communication, and I love that Abby Cheek able to come across there and call off Bauman on that play to be able to come across the diamond, use her momentum for that play, and take Bauman completely out of it.
It's a very good left side of the infield with Cheek, and then Reed playing over at short. Kat Moore in center batting second this afternoon. First pitch swinging, and on the run playing a shallow center, Kayla Kowalik able to grab it while one pitch out. Take a look at the defense behind Bauman. We already talked about Cheek and Reed on the left side. There's the outfield, Dennis Moore. That actually was the Mississippi State defense. We'll get to the Kentucky defense in a sec, but right now, all eyes on Mia Davidson, one of the best hitters in softball so far this season, leading this team in average home runs, RBI, first in the nation in slugging percentage, tied for first in the nation in both home runs and runs driven in. Off-speed pitch. Now here's the Kentucky defense behind Bauman. Outfield Vic Kowalik, who you saw make that nice play in center. Spangler over in right. And defense has always been one of head coach Rachel Lawson's benchmarks and priorities. Jenny Shaper behind the plate. Rachel Lawson, the head coach, is the one who calls the pitches. Davidson behind 1 and 2, does not chase.
Bauman gets ahead early in the count, gave her a very big pitch for that first one, and I was expecting Mia Davidson to go right at it. She is usually a very aggressive hitter, but she's also very patient, so don't expect her to chase out of the zone. She sticks to her game plan in most at-bats.
Upstairs, fills up the count. Davidson, 40% of her hits this year have been for home runs.
Well, and it's the rise ball that has really given her those swing and misses this season, but Mia Davidson, so controlled and patient, knows her zone and stays off of it.
And she works the 2-out walk. It is the 18th walk that she has drawn. She's only struck out 8 times this year. Extraordinary for someone, especially with her power numbers.
Bauman so smart to stay away from Davidson. I really was surprised by that first pitch and did not give up another offering of anything near the zone.
You wouldn't put anything
close? I wouldn't, not a chance, nor would I to this hitter either.
This is Falelua, 5'9" junior from Hawthorne, California, who transferred over from Arizona State. And she also is off to a spectacular start with 12 home runs. So Davidson and Leilua combining for 26 on the year. And up until last week, that was more than Kentucky had as a team.
I was going through my notes as the week started and recognized that those 26 home runs between Davidson and Leilua matched the total for UK, but UK has been on a home run spree through the midweek, and yesterday has now tacked on another 5 home runs to push them into the lead as a team.
Leilua swings through it. So you see the SEC well represented in the home run leaders across the nation. Alyssa DiCarlo with Georgia also with 14, along with Mia, who's on first base. SEC also with 9 of the top 25 teams in the country. Two with Davidson on first, and Leilua takes it inside, so the second consecutive full count.
I like that Bauman's keeping the ball down in the zone. You never want to elevate a rise ball and run the risk of it laying flat, especially to a hitter with such power as Falelua.
Hit sharply into right field, and Spangler took a step in. The ball sailed over her head. Davidson is being waved in and scores all the way from first on the 2-out double by Leilua. The first run of the weekend for the Bulldogs.
Leilua just allows this ball to travel deep. It's elevated in the zone, but she goes with it. The power of Leilua taking this all the way out over the head of Spangler and right. But it's the speed of Davidson that may be deceiving for most teams. She is so quick on the base pass, puts her head down and absolutely trucks all the way home, taking Mississippi State and putting them on the board.
So the damage done with 2 outs. The walk to Davidson, Leilua following with the double. And here is Carter Spexarth, who is batting 5th this afternoon. She had one of their 4 hits last night in that 8-0 loss. And Mia Davidson, the catcher, she's listed at 5'5", maybe a little shorter than that, but really solidly built, but has good speed.
And I love the way that Van Studeman has put them back-to-back in the lineup. Not only do they protect one another, but the RBI potential with Mia Davidson ahead of Fa gives her the speed to get around the bases.
Batting 3rd and 4th respectively today. They were in this 2 and 3 holes last night. One-two pitch, and Spexarth pops it into shallow left. Bailey Vick camps under it, grabs it for the final out, but the RBI double by Leilua gives State the 1-0 lead.
Don't be fooled. Mia Davidson may have power, but she also has wheels. She will capitalize when defense makes miscues, and she makes them pay with that one.
Kentucky coming up to bat after giving up 1 run in the top of the first inning. And the pitcher that they will be facing, Alyssa Loza, in the circle for Mississippi State, Jenny.
A transfer in from ASU, taking an opportunity to change the scenery and give her an opportunity to step in and make a difference. She is a power thrower for Mississippi State. She loves that curve to both sides, but also throws a rise and a changeup. Right now, she's got to hit her spots. Sometimes she leaves that ball a little bit too much over the middle of the plate. So to be successful, she's going to need to hit her corners and stay on point with her control.
Taking on this Kentucky lineup that begins with Jenny Shaper. And then you look at some of the stout numbers. Abby Cheek hitting .452 and is knocking on the door of being the most prolific home run hitter in the history of this program. Shaper last night, 0 for 2, did walk in that 8-0 5-inning victory. Senior from St. Louis.
One of the things that Coach Lawson says about Jenny Shaper is she tries to start her off different places in the lineup at the beginning of every year, but she always seems to rise to the top, gives such a calm presence to the top of the lineup, sees a lot of pitches, just really likes her presence in the leadoff.
You were a pretty good hitter back in the day. Is it important for the leadoff to go in? So if you're in the dugout, you can see pitches, and does that help you?
I never like to see pitches to other batters, but I do like a calm presence at the top of the lineup that doesn't feel erratic, that doesn't come in and just swing all over the place and try to be too aggressive. I do like the way that Shaper steps in and really just brings that calm feeling to the dugout so that as you stand in the on-deck circle, you feel in control.
2-2 pitch. Tap to Montana Davidson, who throws across the diamond. Out number 1. Now the defense behind Rosa. Dennis Moore and Spexard from left to right in the outfield. And a couple of Davidsons. Montana is the older sister of Mia, who is catching.
That dynamic, so fun for Mississippi State. They work out together. They've spent so much time together growing up, and they really just anchor this defense.
They are from North Carolina. Here's Kayla Kowalik, the center fielder.
Kowalik, one of those players stepping in as a freshman and already making a name for herself. Coach Lawson says she loves to have her bat in the lineup and now plays center field just because she needs her bat in the lineup, has never played outfield before.
That's really incredible. The first time you do it, you're playing in the SEC. And she is thriving so far as a true freshman. In fact, she had a 10-game hitting streak that was snapped last night. She still was able to score a couple of runs. Playing it on the corners, she puts it on the ground. Montana Davidson, no chance. Kowalik showing that speed with the infield single.
Typically you see slappers trying to use the ground to get the high hop, but here at Kentucky they do not roll that ground right in front of home plate. So because of that, the ball dies as she drives it into the ground. It's because that ball stays so close to the plate that there's no way that Davidson can come up with that. Kowalik places that one perfectly and is able to motor it down the line.
And now it's Abby Cheek stepping in. Hits it solidly for a single. Kowalik decides to stop on second with Moore playing a relatively short center field. So back-to-back singles. 2 on and 1 out for Kentucky.
We see a very different Abby Cheek this season, one who's more controlled in the zone, really tries to execute a game plan, and Abby Cheek not trying for those home runs. In years past, we've seen erratic swings and wild hacks, and this year, Abby Cheek really buying into the process. Pitchers going right at her, knowing the power that she has, and she's taken what she's been given and really executing well.
Here's Alex Martins, who hit .556 last week at South Carolina, and they do get Cheek. Good job over there by the shortstop Geltz to grab a throw that was not exactly on line. So runners on the corners now.
And Payton has a lot of power but gets jammed up. Because of that, Sarainu comes into that 3-4 hole to field it. Because she's pulled in that direction, that's why she goes for the out at second base. A great call by New, but Goal's able to stay on the bag and will get the out.
And now with 2 outs and runners on the corners, both head coaches have a chance to speak with their players. Van Studeman out in the circle. She has called in her entire infield. That's Rachel Lawson, who you saw go over and have a chat with Martins, who is over at first base. And the gold that you see Kentucky, it is Cancer Awareness Weekend that we talked about, and the gold is the color for pediatric cancer awareness, so they're wearing that color today as an accent.
Yesterday they recognized Alex Wilcox, the player from Mississippi State who passed away over the summer from ovarian cancer. Today recognizing a former Kentucky softball player's son, Roman Kiddick, who was diagnosed with a stage 3 neuroblastoma when he was just 3 months old, but has fought that. Now 8 years old, able to throw out that first pitch today. Yeah,
that was chilling to see him out there with that. So here is Mallory Payton, first baseman, trying to do some 2-out damage for Kentucky.
The focus for Kentucky the past couple of years has been run production. 2 years ago, Rachel Lawson recognized that they were 172nd in the nation in scoring production. And so that has been the goal and the project that they have been working on. They actually nicknamed it Project 172. Last year, able to pull those numbers up to 37th in the nation. But still, one of those qualities of a team, you've got to be able to score with runners in scoring position. And Kentucky trying to respond to a 1-0 fall behind in this first inning.
2-1 pitch on the way to Payton. And that jump that you mentioned from 172 in the country in run production up to 37, they did that last year against the #1 strength of schedule. They played a brutal schedule last year, great non-conference schedule. Then you get in the SEC, which is no joke. Payton strikes out. Good job by Loza to strand a couple of runners. After 1 inning of play, I heard her.
Who I was privileged to play behind, but she's right. All of those, it's easy. It's because they hit their spots. So you know when the ball's going outside, it's going to go a certain spot. Or if they miss-hit, you know where it's going. It's the predictability as a defender, knowing what you're going to get and the trust that you have in that pitcher in the circle. That's what she brings to Florida. It was a unique weekend for them against Tennessee last weekend. I'd love to see how they respond against LSU.
Yeah, again, they will get that series underway tonight. Here's Montana Davidson. Redshirt sophomore, first pitch, taps it back. And Bauman takes care of her for the first out of the second inning. So even if elite pitchers, even if they don't get the strikeout, as a defender, if they hit their spot, you know pretty much where the ball's going to come off the bat, and that helps you tremendously.
Exactly, because you know if it's outside, as a second baseman, it's coming your way. You've got to be ready.
Bauman gave up the 2-out RBI double to Leilua in the first inning. And now here's Sarah New. Van Studeman now in her 8th year in charge at Mississippi State. And you can see they've won 9 of their last 11 games, some come from behind wins, but a team that seems to have a lot of optimism and good chemistry about this season.
Well, they've got a lot of fight. They've been through very hard times with the passing of Alex Wilcox. It's really developed that family feel in the dugout, given them a chance to really rely on one another and fight together. She says we're soldiers and we're here fighting her fight. Who
is one of 3 Samoans on this team, coming over from San Diego. She's behind 1 and 2. Martins, nice from her knees for out number 2. And the defense of Kentucky is You talked about their run production getting better, but their defense has always been good.
Going back to that trust in the circle, Bauman giving the pitch, going outside. The second baseman knows that this one's coming her way, so you got to be aware in that 3-4 hole. Martin's able to anticipate, comes away with a good one for an out.
Number 8 hitter Kinsey Geltz, who is the shortstop this afternoon for the Bulldogs. Only had one at bat last night in that 8-0 loss. Redshirted last year out of high school with a bad shoulder, and she's quickly behind 0-2.
Sometimes those redshirt years can really give you not just perspective, but that hunger to want to be back on the field and give everything you've got when you get an opportunity back between the white lines.
Yeah, the appreciation, I would think, too, of being hurt. You miss, you're not playing, and just getting back out there is a small victory at least.
And seeing the fight that Alex Wilcox gave them, even though she was hurt as well, but coming back and wanting to play for her and represent her so well in a Mississippi State uniform.
Inside strike called by Elizabeth Hammerschmidt behind the plate. A very good 1-2-3 inning for Bauman.
Gorgeous pitch by Bauman, sets her up perfectly for this one, rides it low on the knees, a beautiful one, and it freezes.
SEC handed out their weekly awards. Freshman of the Week, Montana Fouts, who's a really good pitcher for Bama.
I was able to see her in person last weekend, absolutely dishing in the circle. She's impressive and just a freshman.
Amanda Sanchez, who transferred from Missouri, making an impact at LSU, is your player of the week. And we've got the pitcher of the week right here in this building, Autumn Humes, who won last night.
And very dominant performance, came away with 4 strikeouts, but it was this just able to control the tempo of the game. Humes, a transfer in, the first one Lawson ever had, but said she couldn't have gotten a better one.
Humes in the dugout chilling. She's got that I pitched last night vibe. She's got the parka, she's got the beverage, she's got the shades. Autumn Humes, who actually transferred in from a Division II school and has assimilated very well, to say the least, at Kentucky. And here now is Katie Reed, the shortstop, who was the big bopper last night. 2 at-bats, 2 3-run home runs.
It's because of players like Reed that Humes was able to acclimate so quickly. Reed, a true captain of this team. They are voted on by everyone that is involved with the softball program. Reed representing Kentucky so well and leads as a captain.
Let's take a look at some of her handiwork last night.
I mean, she just looked like she was so calm. Everybody else within Kentucky's lineup was way ahead of Fagan, but Reed making the ball look like a beach ball, sending it out of the park, consistently able to tie a school record with 6 RBI in one game.
So 2 at-bats, 2 home runs, both of them 3-run shots in that 8-0 win.
I saw her in the tunnels before the game and just said, hey, nice win last night. And she's just one of the most humble kids you'll ever be around. So confident and cool.
Hacking on that 3-1 pitch. Katie Reed also could be the poster child for student athletes in the NCAA. She's going to Pitt, University of Pittsburgh Dental School in the fall.
And represents this athletic department on their student athletic advisory board. And so not only does well within the between the white lines, but as a person as well, representing Kentucky athletics.
Smashes that to Gels. Good throw across to get Reed for the first time this weekend.
I would think in the circle that Alyssa Loza can now take a deep breath, knowing that last night most of that run production happened because of Reed able to get her out.
Rachel Lawson again facing a tough non-conference schedule. Coming in on a big winning streak, and they've been jumping on teams, and we already mentioned Humes as the SEC Pitcher of the Week. Rachel Lawson has taken this team to 10 straight NCAA tournaments. Kentucky had never been to a single one before that string.
And Lawson recognized that their team was going to have a lighter SEC schedule, so because of that, she put in teams into their pre-conference schedule such as Texas, Washington, UCLA, Oklahoma, coming away with losses in each of those matchups, but learning a lot because of those plays.
Tatum Spangler playing right field today, making just her 4th start of the season. She's got a real major as well, veterinary sciences.
You have to love a coach that is willing to let you take on those tough majors and still play such a high level of softball.
Sent in the left field. Dennis chases, but runs out of room. Great effort down there. This is a University of Kentucky team that got back to, they've been to 6 super regionals, 2 in a row. But they've had the misfortune of having to play Oregon. They lost in the Eugene Super Regional the last couple of years.
It was an encouraging start for them, though, last year, winning game 1 of that super regional. So coming within 1 game of getting to Oklahoma City. The last time Kentucky had been there is 2014 behind the arm of Kelsey Nunley.
Right to New, and Sarai makes the play on a sharply hit ball by Spangler. 2 up, 2 down.
She just gets jammed on this one, riding it in on her hands. It's an easy play for New to make and actually makes it on top of the bag. So Spangler not even able to beat that one out.
Already on top of the bag, yeah, when she grabbed it. Number 8 hitter is Bailey Vick, the left fielder for Kentucky. 0-for-2 with a couple of strikeouts last night against Grace Fagan, who got the start for Mississippi State. Fagan gave up 8 runs, but again, only 1 of them was earned. There were 3 Mississippi State errors that contributed to the run rule loss.
Only 3 hits for Fagan in the circle, but it was the errors that really compounded that, and Katie Reed took advantage getting those 2 home runs with such timely hitting.
One pitch on the way to Vick. Oza trying to set down the Wildcats in order. Infield playing in. Gels had to get rid of it quickly as Vick runs so well, but a nice inning for Loza in the circle. Mississippi State up 1-0 after 2.
It's time to play John Crop Jukebox, where you can select the music played during our game today. Your 3 selections today begin with Sucker by the Jonas Brothers, Havana by Camila Cabello, and There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes.
It is a 1-0 lead for Mississippi State because of this damage done by Leilua in the first inning.
It was Mia Davidson that would draw the walk, and then her wheels on the bases is what got this run across. A misplay out in right field by Tatum Spangler allowed the ball to get all the way to the wall, and Mia Davidson capitalized with her wheels, puts Mississippi State on the board.
And there you see the line score so far, and Grace Bauman, the starter, got the first 2 batters in that first inning, Candice Dennis and Kat Moore. Her first 2 outs, only had to throw 3 pitches, and then she went full counts on Davidson and Leilua, who were their power hitters, and eventually gave up that 1 run, which is where we stand right now. And the bottom of the order, Lindsey Williams, the second baseman, making just her second start this season. Head coach Van Studeman, after that 8-0 loss, really blew up her lineup.
She told us, I just need to find something different. We were not able to produce yesterday, had too many errors, and so today looking for a different fit.
And so far, so good, out to that 1-0 lead.
And it's the opening weekend for Mississippi State within the SEC. Last weekend, Kentucky able to open up with South Carolina, come away with a sweep victory of that series. Mississippi State still settling into a lineup that's going to fit for the rest of the year.
Williams taking one inside. Mississippi State last year finished 11th in the SEC in the regular season, but made it into the NCAA tournament like all SEC teams. There is a walk to start off the third. We remind you that Thursday it's baseball, SEC baseball at 7 Eastern as number 7 Florida takes on number 2 Vanderbilt. Right here on the SEC Network, it streams live on the ESPN app. That is the first game of a huge 3-game series between those top 10 powerhouses in baseball. And Florida hosting Mississippi State later today. Williams being lifted momentarily for a pinch runner. It is Jamie Gregg coming in to run. And for those of you who might not be too familiar and need a refresher in softball, everybody can be pinch run for first and then re-entered, or pinch run for one time and then can re-enter into the game, which we expect to happen.
So your starters can come out of the game, and there is a 1 re-entry for those starters.
Tapper, tough play. Good job by Martins to go over to cover second, but that's a terrific sacrifice laid down by Dennis.
Well, as a second baseman, you have to read your hands, and as soon as you see the barrel stopping through the zone, that's your key to break for second base. Martins reads it well. Payton able to come across, makes that play very calmly, and that as a second baseman is a huge play to be able to come across, keep your eyes still, and make that play.
So now Cat Moore trying to move things along for Mississippi State. The Bulldogs have a couple of pitchers up and warming in their bullpen. And I gotta say, Jenny, I am not a fan of the all-white letters and numbers in the tops of their jerseys. A little tough to see down there. I mean, they're stylish.
I'm going to have to say
but challenging.
White was my favorite color to play in, though, because as soon as I dive, I feel like I've done something for the day. I hated leaving the field clean, and a white uniform gave me an opportunity to come away dirty a little bit easier.
Did you ever take a superfluous dive just to get dirty and look like a ball player?
You want me to give away my tricks? Come on. Sometimes you do it in the pregame knowing that you may not have a chance in the game.
Yeah, there you go. You know you're ready to go.
A lot of times, though, a dive is done on the infield simply to show your pitcher that you're working for them. Very rarely are you able to dive on the infield, come up and make a play across the diamond. So that one, a dive just shown for effort.
Good job by Shaper behind the plate to keep that pitch that skipped in front of her. Catmore flew out to center her first time up. Now a 3-1 pitch with the pinch runner Gregg at second. She's got speed. And that misses. That is the third walk given up by Bauman, the second this inning.
Bauman just dancing around the zone, not wanting to give away too many pitches to these Mississippi State hitters, especially Cat Moore, who has been in the middle of the lineup this year to protect Fa and Mia, but now moved up to the top of the lineup looking for a little bit more production. There at the top also gives them speed in the lineup as well in that 2 spot.
All right, so here's your uh-oh moment right now. Mia Davidson is up with the base open, 1 out. Now, Lou is a good hitter behind her. Let's see how they decide to pitch to Davidson.
I would anticipate that most of these pitches will be down near the knees. They don't want to elevate anything into the zone to make sure that this ball does not get out of the park. So they're looking to have her roll over something, keep it down in the zone. But right now, the power of her evident in the NCAA, leading in home runs, RBI, and slugging percentage.
And that clipped her on the elbow to load the bases. Trying to keep the ball inside, but a little bit too close.
And this pitch just gets away from Bauman, rides it up and in. It doesn't even look like it's full speed. That looks to be an off-speed pitch that just rides in on that arm guard of Mia Davidson. She stands there, she wears it. That's a skill that I was never able to have as a player, but I also didn't have any protective gear on that front side to be able to wear it and feel confident about it.
Yeah, she had the armor on, and you could see she made no attempt to get out of the way. And now Leilua Thunder and Lightning. This is what this duo has been nicknamed by Rafael Palmeiro, and that's what he and Will Clark were known as in a beautiful renovation at the baseball stadium in Starkville. And this is Thunder and Lightning 2.0 with Davidson and Leilua. And with the bases loaded, Cheek able to go to home to get the lead runner and the all-important second out.
And able to come home with that one. They are going to call that ball off of her leg and bring her back. This one, they're saying, came off of that stride leg or that front leg. And that's what happens a lot of times on an inside pitch. As a power hitter, you get your barrel around early, and even if you get jammed, it comes off that front leg. And that's what's going to happen. Leilua getting another opportunity because of that ball off the front leg. Reset the bases. Leilua going at it again.
So a nice break for Mississippi State. Bases still loaded with just one away. Leilua had the RBI double, the two-out double that drove in Davidson all the way from first for so far our only run of the game, but a golden opportunity for the Bulldogs. That was a monster cut. And she goes down.
This ball up in the zone, definitely nowhere near the strike zone, but what you have is big eyes, a huge opportunity to break things open. A big hitter like Leilua sitting as a DP in this lineup, unable to play defense, so her only opportunity to see the field is in the box, and wanting to make an impact, comes away with a huge swing, but unable to connect. That helps out UK.
Yeah, that ball was out of the strike zone, but you're right, it must have looked tempting. Leilua goes down, second strikeout of the game for Bauman.
I have struck out on so many rise balls. As a power hitter, you want a ball elevated in the zone, and as that one starts out, it starts about belt high, and so you think, oh, I'm going to just crush this ball, but as it starts coming in, your brain's telling you to stop, and your body just can't, so you come away with a big hack.
Grace Bauman getting the start today, just giving up the one hit. It was the RBI double, but 3 walks and a hit batter have gotten her into some hot water.
I'm going to say it's that change out in right field that allowed that to happen. Tatum Spangler has not played right field very often, and because of that misplay on that ball that got to the wall, that's where that run came from.
Carter Spexart sends it into left field. Vick doesn't get to it because it's out of the ballpark. Spexart with a 2-out grand slam for Mississippi State.
Oh, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday, the ball getting out of the park twice for Katie Reed. Now today, Carter Spexart putting an exclamation point on this one. You see the hammer coming out of the dugout. But Carter Spexart takes this pitch that is absolutely picture perfect down Broadway. Maybe on the inner half, but as a power hitter, that's the pitch you want. Just get your hands out in front of this one, get the barrel to the ball, and it will do the rest. Grace Bauman giving you the power behind the pitch. All you have to do is connect, and Spexart making a big one and gets Mississippi State a bigger lead.
Just her second home run of the season. Montana Davidson steps in. And I can tell you, coming off the bat, it didn't seem like it was hit to me particularly well, but Spexart knew it right away. She put her arm up and flew around the bases.
You can feel it. As it comes off the bat as a hitter, you know when you've connected well because it feels like you haven't hit anything, and I'm sure that's what it felt like to Spexart.
She only had 6 RBIs before that home run. Now she's up to 10 on the season.
And this is why Van Studeman has made these changes. She needed a different look out of her lineup, and she's gotten it here today.
Davidson out on a comebacker, her only at bat. Base is now empty. 4 big runs in for the Bulldogs, who got shut out last night. And what an answer so far this afternoon. There is no activity in the Kentucky bullpen, just in case you're wondering.
Bauman is not one of those pitchers that will show her emotions in the circle. So even though she's sitting with a 5-run deficit, you will see her continue to stay stoic. And that's one of the best qualities she has because there is no panic in that circle for Kentucky.
That is smoked foul. Emily Williams continuing to warm in the Mississippi State bullpen. righty.
Montana Davidson had to sit out last year. She had surgery in the fall. They've been able to come back and really just anchor that left side of the defense at third base, but more importantly, give another big bat to this Mississippi State lineup.
Out with the knee injury last year, continues to fight off pitches from Bauman. Older sister of Mia Davidson. They're from Hillsborough, North Carolina, and their dad, Cliff, was their high school coach back there. Another 2-2 pitch. And that is absolutely tagged into center, and the second home run of the inning for Mississippi State. Montana Davidson goes to dead center field.
Montana not wanting to be outdone by sister Mia. Her first home run of the year. This one left too big again. Up in the zone, and as a power hitter, that's what you're looking for. Something up near the letters. This one comes in. Montana takes this one deep. Straight away center. That's how you know the ball was left too big down the middle of the plate. If you're able to take this ball right back up the middle, the ball is finding too much white. Bauman right now really needing to paint the corners and get those pitches to move through the zone rather than sit flat over the white.
A disastrous third inning so far for Kentucky. A grand slam home run by Spexarth, and then back-to-back Davidson with the solo shot.
So we talked about thunder and lightning for Mia Davidson and Falelua. It looks like Spexarth and Montana Davidson wanting to come back and get that name for themselves as well.
New grounded out her first time up, so the Davidson sisters, between Mia and Montana, now have 15 on the season. 14 of them by Mia, and Montana going deep for the first time. New goes down swinging, but what an inning it was for the Bulldogs. They put up 5 big runs.
So how do you respond from an 8-0 victory the day before? How about 2 jacks for Mississippi State? No doubters. And Mississippi State on top.
Let's go back to last night, Cancer Awareness Weekend here. Van Studeman throwing out the first pitch as they were wearing teal. Ovarian cancer is what took the life of Alex Wilcox at the age of 18. You see the teal accents on the Kentucky uniforms, and boy, I just can't imagine going through that as a teammate. Certainly with the Wilcox's family, it's totally unimaginable, but they have really rallied behind Alex.
And I talked with Van Studeman in the preseason before they even started play, asking her, how has this affected your coaching style? She said, you know, that's a question I can't answer yet. It's still too fresh. They have a locker in the locker room still for Alex Wilcox. And at the time that I talked to Van Studeman, she said, her player file is still sitting on my desk. I don't have the heart to take it off because she's still with us every single day. And right now, Mississippi State trying to generate funds to be able to name a building after Alex Wilcox that will stand forever.
6-0 lead for Mississippi State. Lauren Johnson, the number 9 hitter, up for the first time this afternoon. And if you're not familiar, Alex Wilcox passed away of ovarian cancer last June. She was only 18 years old and was able to fight through it. And her teammates talk all the time about how they continue to let her inspire them. They still talk about her. And you see the number 8 that they wear on their uniforms. Johnson gets it on the ground over to Williams for the first out. And today in the 3-game series, it is a pediatric cancer awareness, and Roman Kiddick threw out the first pitch.
And he is a 2-time cancer survivor. And it was at a dinner I had with his mom, Sandy Kiddick, who was a player here at UK, that she noticed, you know, something's just not quite right with my little 2-month-old. And it was from that dinner that she took her son to an appointment and that's where they diagnosed him with stage 3 neuroblastoma. It was at that alumni event. We took this picture at a local eatery, and after she got home, she realized, you know, there's just something not right. And because of that, took him to the doctor, and that's where the fight began. At just 3 months old, and now sitting at 8 years old, a 6-year cancer survivor. A great story, a little young man who absolutely has shown what it's like to fight.
Jenny Schaefer just got hit by that pitch, and good news, Roman is in very good health, and that's why the gold is the color for pediatric cancer. That's why Kentucky is trimmed out in that, and now Schaefer will be pinch run 4 by J.C. Babbs.
Softball has recognized that they now have such a presence and a platform to be able to share awareness and get the word out for things that are really affecting not just the youth of our sport, but also people that touch our communities. And so for softball to be able to take that platform and really give it a voice, it shows that they're thinking outside the white lines and affecting the communities that they play in.
Kayla Kowalik trying to do some damage now with 1 out, and the pinch runner J.C. Babbs over at first. Babbs, the primary pinch runner, freshman from Sturgis, Kentucky. And that's the first base runner that the Cats have had since the first inning. Lowe's has only given up a couple of singles. That was to Kowalik, who beat out an infield single. But now the chance and the extra base taken as the pitch skipped off the glove of Davidson.
And this pitch gets away from Mia Davidson. But you'll notice the defense playing Kowalik very shallow. That is not expected. She can slap, but she has power. She doesn't have a home run on the year, but this gap-to-gap power of Kowalik, just a freshman, is impressive, and that's why Lawson has her here at the top of the lineup.
And that was ruled a wild pitch by Loza to get Babbs down to second base. Loza looking in to get the pitch signals, from the dugout. Both head coaches calling the pitches for their respective teams. That one is upstairs.
Kowalik, a player that Coach Lawson is hoping to put at the top of the lineup as her years here at Kentucky progress. A senior in Jenny Schaefer leads things off for Kentucky, but Kowalik being set up for the future at the top of the lineup for Kentucky.
Loza fields it. Kowalik gets the runner over to third, but there is now 2 away. And that lies on the shoulders now of Abby Cheek, who singled and was stranded back in the first inning.
Abby Cheek.
Abby Cheek, the senior from Inman, South Carolina, who is 2 home runs away from tying Brittany Cervantes' school record of 48 career dingers. Cervantes is one of the assistant coaches on this Kentucky staff. That floats way high.
And there's Brittany Cervantes, played here at Kentucky, an alumni, able to come back and now give back. We asked Lawson what the differences were between the two of them, between Cheek and Cervantes. She said, I don't know that you can compare them. They're much different hitters, but Cheek just 2 home runs away from tying Cervantes' home run record here at Kentucky.
And Cervantes, it's not like she graduated a long time ago. And she was 2012, and just talked about the strength and conditioning differences in the bat technology. Even that 7-year string is astronomical.
Well, don't get me started on bat technology. I played 25 years ago, and we swung like tree trunks compared to what these athletes get to swing. But it's because of that bat technology that a hitter like Cheek can absolutely put dominance into a lot of pitches.
And you see what Loza is doing as she hits her and sends her down to first. That second hit batter.
And this is another big difference in the game from when I played to now. Hitters stand in and take these pitches. And when we were playing, I jumped out of the way of everything because I felt like I could do more damage with my bat than just standing on first base. But Abby Cheek, a very selfless player, takes that one on the inside forearm, gets herself on first base, and puts Kentucky in a great position now to force some things to happen defensively for Mississippi State. Because of runners on the corners, you'll see some movement. She's one of those players that is very quick, similar to Mia Davidson. You don't expect it, but she has quite a few stolen bases on the year, already 4 for 4 in stolen bases.
So now Martins comes up with 2 away, and also in Cheek's defense in that at bat, it looked like Loza had no intention of throwing her a strike.
No, there was no way. The first pitch way up and out of the zone on a changeup, the next one riding it high in on her hands. I mean, there's no way you want to pitch to Cheek, but that's why Martins backs her up. Typically a very potent hitter sitting in that spot behind Cheek. She's got 5 home runs on the year.
And some 2-out RBIs last night in that 8-0 whitewashing. They need a big 2-out hit now from Martins.
And it seems as though they're staying away from Martins, but sitting behind Martins is Payton, who has more home runs than Payton in the lineup.
Pinch runner Babs over at third. Cheek is at first. And the throw down as Cheek, you mentioned that she's got some sneaky speed. She took the base.
Going into first and third situation, you have a lot of options. You can throw down, try to get the out, but more often than not, you want to play it safe in that situation. They've got a 6-run lead. I don't know why they didn't go for Cheek. Perhaps it was because of the speed that she does have on the base pass, not wanting to risk a run coming home.
Now Van Studeman comes out to have a conversation with home plate umpire Liz Hammerschmidt. And it looks like she's going to make a defensive switch.
So Dennis will come in and throw in the circle. Dennis is a pitcher as well. Gives a little bit of a different look. She throws about 8 miles an hour slower than Loza in the circle, but this is the change that's needed, and I love the creativity of Van Studeman.
Yeah, how about doing that with a 2-1 count on the batter with 2 outs? We'll talk more about that when we come back after a quick break. Very interesting decision by Van Studeman to bring in Candice Dennis right now.
And Dennis comes in throwing slower. We knew that Van Studeman would want to make this kind of a change, but we were expecting her to go to Williams. So Dennis will come in throwing a little bit slower. She throws a curve and a changeup mix, but she's the strongest player on this team. So what she's got to make sure she doesn't do is overthrow. She has to trust her spin and really just spin the ball. Coming in at that 60-mile-an-hour mark, it's the timing difference between the two pitchers that causes this change.
Dennis and Loza switch. Loza, who was in the circle, goes out to left field. So yeah, Dennis was not warming in the circle. She's been playing left field, and now she tries to get Martins, who now is even up at 2-2 at the count.
And Loza now sitting out in left field. She is not a defender, so expect this ball to ride in on the hands of Martins because they do not want her to go the other way and make Loza have to play out in the outfield.
That one was on the outside.
But it was a waste pitch, so if she did get a hold of it, she was not going to be able to drive that one fair. But an unexpected turn of events with that pitch coming on the outer half. I would not expect that to happen. Loza with her heels on the warning track trying to keep everything in front.
Now full count. And that is sent into the gap, closing and unable to get to it. Moore and Kentucky able to plate 2 on the big 2-out swing by Alex Martins.
Because of that steal with the first and third, it put Cheek on second base, and Cheek has wheels. Knowing that there's 2 outs, she is taking off on the swing. As soon as contact is made, she is going. Because of that, she is able to score as well, so that Kentucky does not just get 1, but Cheek, right on the heels, scores 2 for Kentucky.
Well, the full count pitch, just enough to get it in front of Moore, who made a terrific effort for the catch. First runs of the afternoon for Kentucky. Mallory Payton struck out against the starter Loza, her only at bat so far.
You notice the arm going out of the umpire at first base, calling obstruction, knew blocked that bag, and so even if she hadn't gotten in, that would have given Martin's an opportunity to be safe. And Van Studeman will switch up in the circle again. Loza will come in. Dennis will go back out because recognizing now this matchup may be a little bit different.
So Dennis came in and threw a few pitches. Gave up the 2-run single to Martins, and now she retreats back to left field, and Loza, the starter, gets back into the circle. Tonight after Tennessee-Auburn baseball, it's SEC Now, headed up by Dari Noka and the crew. They recap the men's SEC tournament semis, highlights, breakdowns, reactions from everyone. Auburn, Florida, and Kentucky, Tennessee, by the way. That one is hit and caught by Loza to end the inning. So Payton is retired. Very unusual inning. Kentucky gets a couple of runs to trim the lead to 6-2. Welcome back to Lexington, Kentucky. You're watching SEC softball where Mississippi State leads Kentucky 6-2, and we are joined now by Van Studeman, the head coach for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Got to ask you about your pitching change decisions. A couple of them coming in the midst of at-bats in that last inning.
Yeah, I thought it might work, and hey, it was this close to working. We have a hitter out in right field, so if we'd have had maybe a true outfielder out there, we might have made that play. The center fielder, Kat Moore, gave it one heck of a try, and I thought she was going to grab it. But, yeah, hey, just trying to mix it up, trying to give them a different look, and it almost worked. Almost doesn't count.
Well, you really made a lot of changes from yesterday's lineup to today. What went into that decision?
Just Emily Heimberger and Bevier Robinson, their job is to get on base, and if they make errors, as long as they're getting on base, I'll take it. But they made a few errors yesterday, and they didn't get on base. So, I've got two steady middle infielders that deserve an opportunity, so they're out there working hard to keep us in this game, making the plays.
All right, so far so good with the 6 runs. Thanks very much, Coach.
Thank you.
6-2 for Mississippi State after they got blanked 8-zip in a run roll game yesterday. A couple of changes for you. Lauren Johnson now goes over to play right field in place of Tatum Spangler. Spangler now is the DP for Kentucky. And we have a new pitcher, Megan Shorman, the freshman righty, takes over the ball.
And Shorman comes in throwing very similarly in speed to Bauman. She's the hardest thrower on the staff, though. She comes in with a good rise that she's developed this year and mixes that in with a drop and a curve.
That is hit on the nose and handled very well by Payton for the first out. So Gills is retired.
With one out for Mississippi State, second baseman, number 22.
And this one's tattooed down the line. Mallory Payton heads up play, able to just block it up, but does come away with the catch for the out. That hot corner on the right side doesn't always see the kind of action that the third baseman does, but she's able to stay alive on that one.
Have to be just as aware over there. Again, the base is just 60 feet apart, 60 feet from home plate, so the ball gets on you in a hurry. Now bottom of the order, Lindsey Williams, who walked and was pinch run for back in the third inning, has re-entered. The 5-run third, highlighted by just 2 hits, but the 2 hits were big ones. A grand slam by Spexarth, followed by Montana Davidson's solo shot.
The key to timely hitting is making sure you capitalize on a mistake coming out of the circle, and that's what Mississippi State has been able to do here today.
Rachel Lawson, as you see, calling the pitches from the dugout. One-two, spoiled back by Williams.
Talk about those pitch calls coming from the dugout. That's a big change within our game. You look back 10, 15 years ago, those pitch calls were being made by the catchers, and I really feel like that not only has added to time in our game, but it also takes away the feel of the game from those within the white lines.
Shorman gets the strikeout. Williams goes down.
One of the benefits from calling pitches from the dugout is also having the scouting report, though, in front of you. And Rachel Lawson, one of the best pitch callers in the game, gives this one to the circle. Shorman able to execute, just a freshman for Kentucky, but has come in as the hardest thrower, the hardest freshman thrower she's ever had. And Kentucky using Lawson's expertise in the circle to make her a better pitcher, and also the calls from the side helping set her up perfectly for batters.
That's a mighty swing by Dennis.
A ball up in the zone, taking advantage of Dennis, who was able to come in and pitch last inning. A huge hack, but it pulls her eyes off of contact, and that's what allows that swing and a miss to happen.
Dennis is trying to make contact in the leadoff spot. Emily Heimberger led off last night and was 0 for 2. Shorman, a freshman from Hazelwood, Missouri. Sets him down in order. Very impressive. A couple of strikeouts for the freshman, but Kentucky's still down 6-2. When we come back, we will speak to Rachel Lawson, head coach for the Cats. Welcome back. Heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. Joined now by Rachel Lawson, the head coach for Kentucky. Your team got down pretty quickly, 6-0. What's the key to the comeback?
Well, I think we're going to have to be patient and swing at our pitches. You know, we've been swinging at the pitcher's pitches and we keep grounding out, so I think it's essential that we make sure that we have them bring it up, really.
And Bauman's really been a staple for you in the circle. What goes into the decision to bring Shorman in for you here today?
Well, they're obviously squaring up on Bauman. You know, they're on time with her. They're just seeing the ball. And so Megan did a great job for us last weekend and has been doing a good job. So I definitely think it's her opportunity right now.
All right, did well setting them down in order. Thanks a lot,
All
Coach.
right, thank you. Appreciate it.
10 pitches, 9 strikes for Shorman in that last half inning. For head coach Rachel Lawson, her team trying to make the comeback. Kentucky coming into this game, winners of 9 in a row, and Katie Reed, the shortstop, gets things going here in the bottom of the 4th. On a sunny and cool day, maybe about 50 degrees, the wind blowing out towards right center field. Reed squares to bunt.
I would say today is perfect softball weather. You've got, I always see the field as a hitter, and the wind is blowing out.
Okay.
So not only do you have the sun shining, so you've got the warmth of that, but with a little bit of the breeze, you get the ball up. It's going to help you to get this ball over the fence.
Mississippi State has hit a couple of home runs this afternoon. Reed takes one upstairs from Loza, the Arizona State transfer.
Loza did not have a lot of innings, just 12 innings pitched last year. She was behind G. Juarez, who is now at Oklahoma State. So ASU has seen a lot of change within their lineup. And the departure of G. Juarez and also Alyssa Loza has changed the dynamic out west, but helped these teams here on this side of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I saw that Juarez the other day for Oklahoma threw a perfect game. Patty Gasso just keeps getting those transfers who come in. Another fantastic team for Oklahoma this year, and what should be a very exciting season all the way around.
Many teams took advantage of the portal, went in and found some very quality players that were just not happy at the homes that they were at, and that's a whole different conversation with the portal. Yeah. But because of that portal, you saw a lot of things change in the offseason.
Full count pitch coming up now to Katie Reed. Loza herself had a perfect game this year against Valparaiso early on. Just the 3rd perfect game in school history. Reed to Moore, who had to adjust slightly to make that play for the first out. Tough when they come in and hit right at you. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, we'll have our SEC Now selection special, breaking down the brackets and preview all the teams in the SEC in the NCAA tournament coming up right here on the SEC Network. Streams live on the ESPN app. And here comes a pinch hitter up for Kentucky, Kelsey Henson stepping in for Spangler.
Number 19, Kelsey Henson.
This Selection Sunday tomorrow for men's basketball, and then Monday night the selection show on ESPN for the women's basketball tournament. So a big weekend coming your way, softball, and then the big shows for basketball.
Just an exciting time of year. I love championships regardless of the sport, and right now basketball coming into their postseason, softball heading into conference. I mean, there's so much good TV. I mean, sports all over the place, but hang on because there's a lot coming at you.
Henson lifts that one, and it is gone, just skipping over the fence. A pinch hit, two-run home run for Kelsey Henson, and Kentucky right back in it.
Home run, Kelsey Henson, her second of the year.
That's a big pinch hit opportunity, and that's why Kelsey Henson comes in. Just 25 at-bats on the year prior to this, but Loza leaves the ball big. That's been the mistake from the circle today. The ball's not spinning and moving through the zone. Henson takes advantage, takes it right back up the gut, drives this one to deep center. Catmore trying to track it and get there, but Henson tattoos this one deep. Her second home run of the year, and for Kentucky, that gives a little bit of life to the dugout.
Now Bailey Vick steps in, and my apologies, no one on base. It's a solo shot for Henson in the pinch hit variety, and it cuts the lead to 6-3. Kentucky was down 6-0 heading into the bottom of the third.
Lawson talked about how her hitters were grounding out a lot, rolling over the ball, getting a lot of ground balls. Well, Henson takes advantage of a ball built high and lifts that one. Launch angle is one of those key phrases that get tossed around a lot in the hitting world, but more than anything, you're just trying to square a ball up, and that one was absolutely down the middle of the plate, and she took advantage.
Pinch hit home run for Henson, her second of the season.
You know, in a pinch hit situation, you're just trying to make a name for yourself, to break into that starting lineup. Right now, the right field position for Kentucky is one of those spots that has some openings. They've had some miscues out there, and so maybe Henson trying to find her way into the starting lineup.
It's a good way to make your case by coming up and getting that home run.
Vick trying to say this ball's a little bit low, thinking she drew the walk, but that one just nips her at the knees.
Now we're 3-1, and Loza throws high. She is out. Wow, Don Brown saying that New was able to get back on the bag after the high throw.
We saw Loza hiccup earlier, thinking that she should go overhand to a play, but then ran it over and went underhand. Maybe she's got a little bit of the yips. That's a tough one. It looks as though Vick, trying to avoid the collision at first base, deviates and comes off of her line a little bit. Because of that, she's out. Pay attention, base runners. Stay in your line. Make sure you go hard through the bag. Now, Vick is not the biggest player on the team, and Sarai New does have some size to her, but you cannot deviate. As soon as you alter that line, you slow down, and that's why she's out.
That's a great point, because if she would have run straight through and hard, because obviously you can overrun first base, but got the yips a little bit, and that was a close play. And now Van Studeman going to make another change, but let's go back to the real time in that last play.
And from the batter's perspective, you see New coming down into the baseline, but notice the little misstep. You cannot alter that line. You've got to go hard through. Even if you make contact with that first baseman, she clipped her a little bit, but you almost have to go in like a linebacker and make sure that you go. That's your bag. Give yourself an opportunity to be safe. Make the first baseman afraid of you coming down the line. Is that dirty?
No, it's very aggressive. Is that the way you ran the bases?
Well, that's my bag.
Right.
So I don't care if you're in my way. I'm going to take that base. And that's what you see out of championship teams. They take the aggression into the play. There's a change in the circle. We'll see Emily Williams now. She's going to throw a little slower. She's about 10 miles an hour slower than Loza. And that was what Van Studeman was hoping to be able to go to. to mix up the timing of these Kentucky hitters. She throws that rise ball, though, and she throws it to different levels, but what she has to make sure she does is make that ball jump. She cannot allow that ball to sit flat, and she's got to keep it on the corners to be successful. Loza did not do poorly in the circle, though, able to really control the momentum of this game and has a 3-run lead as she leaves.
And there you see Loza, the line on her, just giving up 3 hits. Now Williams facing the bottom of the order, the number 9 hitter, Lauren Johnson. Johnson grounded out in her only at bat so far this afternoon. Bases empty with 2 away.
Johnson stepped on campus last season for Kentucky, and one of those players that Rachel Lawson trying to find a spot in the lineup for her because she was such an all-around player. She came in as a infielder, but found a spot in the outfield last year. This year, though, some hiccups in the outfield have caused a lot of momentum or movement through those outfield slots, and Johnson unable to find a permanent home. Tatum Spangler taking that spot to start the game, but Lauren Johnson finding a way in as well.
Johnson, the DP, this afternoon. Coach Lawson with quite a few freshmen on this squad, deep squad, trying to find spaces for them. Pitch lifted into the air, and Dennis grabs it for the final out, but a big pinch hit home run by Kayla Henson gets another run in for Kentucky. They're down 3.
Wear 23 because my favorite number was 3, but I couldn't get it. So in travel ball, I chose 23, and I've just stuck with it since then. I can make some mean buffalo chicken dip. I used to play ice hockey. My freshman year, I made a cool play, and Coach Lawson tweeted Katie Reed for president, and it just kind of stuck.
Katie Reed would be a pretty good pick for just about anything you're talking about. This is just sort of the tip of the iceberg of all the things she's done here at Kentucky.
She is also a senior class award finalist, and so for her, she runs the gamut. Last night had a huge game, tied a school record with 6 RBI in 1 game, but Katie Reed, an all-around player, both inside the white lines and just in life in general.
See, she's going to go to dental school at the University of Pittsburgh next year. She's been a model student athlete. She plays a mean shortstop as well. And did have the 2-3 run blast last night in the 8-0 run rule win. Different story today. Mississippi State with a couple of home runs in the 3rd inning. Took a 6-0 lead, now 6-3. Pam Ward along with Jenny Dalton-Hill, who was the National Player of the Year. Was it Arizona State?
Oh, ouch!
Oh. Arizona. There's Reed making that play.
We used to be friends.
Log on to secnetwork.com for more softball content this year. So you go to secnetwork.com. Tennessee holding on, the big win against Texas. That's a cool tournament going on in Tennessee this weekend. Georgia beat Missouri 1-0. Scores, highlights, and a whole lot more on secnetwork.com. Second weekend of SEC play.
Every SEC school has a bye week. Tennessee is in that bye week, brought in BYU and Texas. A big win for Tennessee yesterday, a 9-5 win over Texas. They'll play again tomorrow. But neat to see some interconference play during the conference schedule.
Mia Davidson gets hit for the 2nd straight at bat. She's been on base all 3 times today without a hit.
And all 3 passes. I don't know that they're trying to take this pitch and make her wear it, but it's a safe way to put her on. There's no way for her to get extra bases on that, but one thing that she is dangerous on the bases because of her speed. It is deceptive, but look for her to be in motion. As soon as Fa touches this, expect her to be at 3rd. She will not settle for just 60 feet.
Ilua, the RBI double in the 1st inning to get things going for Mississippi State. Struck out her last at bat. 2nd inning for Megan Shorman, who only needed 10 pitches to get her 3 outs in the 4th inning when she came on in relief of Grace Bauman. And just to clarify, Jenny went to the University of Arizona, where she went to all these World Series, won 3 of them, should have won 4. Arizona, very different than Arizona State.
I think I'm going to like this season with you, Pam.
National Player of the Year. Alua, this is gone. That's why you don't want to put Davidson on base, because Fa'alelua can make you pay. A 2-run shot, her 13th of the year.
A little bit of a haka celebration coming out of the dugout, a new celebration on home runs this year. But Fa'alelua coming to Mississippi State from that other school, ASU, last year.
Talk about them.
But Leilua steps in with so much power. She not only protects Mia Davidson, but she has so much power that she can follow it up. And it's not just a solo home run, because she follows that hit by pitch with Davidson. Able to put 2 more up on the board for Mississippi State. The Samoan culture alive and strong with 3 Samoans on that staff.
So Leilua goes deep off of Shorman. Get the lead back up to 5. Yes, there are 3 Samoans on this team, and they have their own celebration. Hunter Spexarth. All she did her last time up was hit a grand slam. Make the game open. And let's take a look.
Not an option this time, but it was a ball that just got left up in the zone. That's been what's been happening the whole time. Balls being left over the wide of the plate. Spexarth with bases loaded, able to come up and just put a good swing on it. The ball carries well in this park, and the wind is pushing it out today.
And we're now shifting a bit. Looks like it's going out to straightaway center field.
You talked about Shorman in that first inning that she came in. She threw 10 pitches, 9 of them were strikes. But the thing that was causing those strikes to happen was Mississippi State was swinging out of the zone. So Mississippi State was aiding her in the circle. Now really having to zero in. They've made an adjustment and are now finding Shorman.
Shorman, just a freshman in the circle for Kentucky. Originally committed to Pitt, but then Pitt had a coaching change during the offseason, and she decided to come to Kentucky.
Holly April left Pitt, is now at the University of Louisville, and because of that change, opened up the recruiting process for those committed athletes.
And Coach April did such a good job. There's a walk to Spexarth at Pitt. You might recall in the ACC championship game, they had the game in hand, but then Florida State 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th to pull out that win and claim the ACC championship, and left Pitt out of the NCAA tournament.
A good thing Florida State did, because they would ultimately come around with a national championship, the first one at their school. And it's in those crazy wins, those from behind victories, that you establish who you are, and it really gains momentum. And that's what it did for Florida State.
Yeah, finally getting that first championship for Coach Alameda, who's done such a fantastic job at Florida State. And now here's another one of your Samoans coming in. Chloe Malauula coming in.
I think she's going to come up here and tell you how to say your name.
Yeah, probably not the way I just said it. My apologies. So she's over running at first as a pinch runner for Spexarth. Montana hit a solo shot following Spexarth's grand slam in that 5-run 3rd inning. Speed pitch that Davidson takes for a strike.
And that's a good hold. Without 2 strikes, you're taught as a power hitter to lay off the changeup, because not only is it going to be coming in and your timing's going to be off, but it doesn't have any power behind it. So it's a good hold. It does ride her down in the count, but it's a good hold on that changeup.
Mississippi State 8 runs on just 4 hits, no errors. Kentucky 3 runs on 4 hits and no errors so far. Quite a difference for State, who had 3 errors last night. That led to 7 unearned runs. 1-2 pitch to Montana Davidson.
The Davidson sisters work out together in their downtime. You're only allowed so many hours to work out with your coaching staff during the week, but it's a luxury to have someone that you are so close to, Mia and Montana sisters, able to work together in that downtime and really elevate their offensive potential.
And Coach Van Studeman says she always, or very often, will see them in the batting cages working on their own.
Last year, Montana had to sit it out. She had a knee issue, and so she redshirted last season. And sometimes those redshirt years just make you hungry. And when you find yourself between the white lines, you're a little bit more focused.
Davidson underneath that. And the cheek runs out of room. Davidson doing a good job fouling off 3 straight pitches with the 2-strike count, 1 and 2. Home runs doing a lot of damage for this team. Grand slam solo shot, counting for 5 of the 8 runs. That's way upstairs. Count though only 2 and 2.
It was home runs that made the difference yesterday as well. Katie Reed with 2 of them, providing 6 of the runs that would ultimately end that game early. So for both of in this series, we're seeing the long ball being the difference maker.
And again, my math terrible, so actually the home runs accounting for 7 of the runs today. That's popped. Reed comes in and throws over to get the double play. Another heads-up play by Katie Reed. Ends the inning. And they get the pinch runner.
What do you get out of Reed at shortstop? Well, you've got a defender that is always invested in the game. The pinch runner over at first, Malaulu, a little too aggressive, gets doubled off to end the inning.
25-0 last time we checked.
They are actually sitting at 30-0 after last night. They are in Hawaii for their spring break.
So lucky.
And they have now, this is the best start in school history. Broke that while they've been over there in Hawaii, and Montana Fouts in the circle, a big reason for that, giving them an arm to replace Alexis Osorio from last season.
So here we are now in the bottom of the 5th inning. Kentucky trailing 8-3. Pam Moore, Jenny Dalton-Hill joining you on this sunny afternoon in Lexington. We'll be back here again tomorrow at noon Eastern time for the finale of this 3-game series on the SEC Network. Kentucky trying to climb back in, top of the order, and Jenny Shaper, who was hit by a pitcher last time up and scored. 2-run single by Alex Martins plated those first 2 runs for Kentucky. And Shaper draws the leadoff walk. So we're the only game going on right now in the SEC, but some of the big games coming up. BYU going to play at the top of the hour at Tennessee. And you mentioned Alabama being in Hawaii. I would think just being in Hawaii would be a threat to break a winning streak.
We saw Tennessee go to Hawaii last year. It allowed them to stumble through SEC play, coming back from Hawaii, going down to South Carolina, not able to come away with a series win there.
Kowalik trying to bunt the runner over, and that is trapped. Montana Davidson doing a really good job trying to pick it out of the air, but Kowalik, give her credit with that bunt.
You gotta love the aggression of the defense, and Montana Davidson comes away, but the ball will skip on the ground. That does not give the out, but because she was so aggressive, unable to get up and make a throw anywhere, Kowalik very fast down the line, gives herself a cat daddy and a base hit puts herself at first.
And now the ever-dangerous Abby Cheek with an opportunity. 2 on and nobody out. And started off with a high strike.
And off speed, that's what you're trying to do to these big hitters, disrupt their timing. If they can get the barrel timed up through the zone, they're going to be able to put a big enough swing on it that it will leave the yard. So you've got to disrupt the timing of these big hitters to keep that barrel out of the zone and out of that contact point.
Cheek has singled and been hit by a pitch and scored so far in this game. She's going to leave Kentucky as one of their most prolific hitters. There you see in the top 6 of the big important categories, just 2 home runs away from tying the all-time home run record at this school.
She's really reinvented herself this year. Only 5 strikeouts on the season and has given herself 21 walks. Has become a very patient hitter in the box, not swinging out of the zone, has stuck to the game plan within each of these games. Just Abby Cheek has become this type of hitter that Lawson has needed.
Williams, the third pitcher we have seen for Mississippi State, being very careful. Martin's on deck.
Situational hitting is one of the focuses of this Kentucky group, recognizing that those numbers were down a couple of years ago, adding it into their blue-collar program that they do at the beginning of every year.
Forget about it. The outfielders barely move. Abby Cheek with a huge home run, her 6th of the season.
C-A-T-S, Cats, home run, Abby Cheek.
And that's the kind of hitter that Abby Cheek has needed to be. Patient, controlled, and absolutely puts a hurt on that one. Abby Cheek has so much power in her swing. It's because she accelerates through contact. She doesn't stop at contact. She actually swings faster from contact to finish than she does when on the way to contact. That makes this ball leave the yard in a hurry. She gets that ball almost to the second fence in the outfield, and we've got a new ball game. Within 2 runs now, Kentucky's back in this one.
Yeah, Kat Moore out there playing center field. She glanced at it and then didn't move. She was like, that would be wasted motion.
And no doubter.
Abby Cheek took that 3-1 pitch a long way, and now Kentucky has clawed back to within 2. Alex Martin's had a 2-run single with 2 outs. When Dennis came in to pitch, inherited a 2-1 count. Dennis came in from left and pitched to her, and there was a 2-run single. But this crowd still buzzing after seeing Abby Cheek hit that home run, career home run number 47, so she is 1 away from tying Brittany Cervantes' record.
Remember, this inning started with a leadoff walk. Those leadoff free passes almost always find themselves coming home. Especially at this point in the lineup for Kentucky. Jenny Shaper leads things off in a very calm way, got herself to draw the walk. And Kowalik and Cheek able to do things for Kentucky.
Second straight 3-1 count for Williams in the circle. Mississippi State bullpen had been active, now it's quiet. Taking strike 2, Alex Martins.
Williams throws a slower, lighter ball than Loza, who started this game, but it seems as though Kentucky's made the adjustment quickly to Williams.
Martins works the walk. All 4 batters in this inning have gotten on base for Kentucky, and now here comes Van Studeman. With Payton coming to the plate, we might see yet another pitching change.
Williams, one of those players who is vulnerable to the free passes, giving up 2 in this inning. That's been the difference on the scoreboard. Leading things off with that walk, issuing another one to Martins. Because of that, I'm anticipating a pitching change for Mississippi State.
Williams came in with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th, got Johnson to fly out to end it, but she has struggled mightily here in the 5th, not allowing or not registering an out. Candice Dennis back into pitch again from left field. Let's go back and listen to Abby Cheek's home run. 7 innings, a weekly softball podcast ready to chronicle the road to the Women's College World Series with ESPN personalities like Jenny Dalton Hill. Listen now on the ESPN app, iTunes, wherever you want to listen to podcasts. And one of the things you talked about on the current one that you were on was the sound of the ball off the bat.
It's changed through the years. It used to be a ping, but now it's that absolutely crushing sound. But because of that, the ball just sounds different off the bat of Abby Cheek. I would argue that Mia Davidson and Fa Lelua also have that sound, but the sounds of the game. If you're a pitcher, you're looking for the snap of the glove on one of those fastballs that just hits right in the pocket. But I love the crack of the bat. There's nothing sweeter, because a lot of times that sound means you didn't even feel it. It came off your bat so hard, and that's one of those hits, just like Abby Cheek just had.
Getting all fired up talking about the sound off the bat. Do you miss the sound of the ping, though?
Oh, I do miss the ping. Man. Sorry, the ping.
It was so
It's a different sound, but it still gives me chills.
All right. Big opportunity for Payton, but she lifts it into right field for the big out. One pitch, and Payton is retired. Dennis again coming in to pitch from left field for the second time this afternoon. There's a pinch runner over at first right now, and it is Kennedy Cowden running for Martins. Finally, the first out of the inning, as Emily Williams was unable to register an out in that inning and gave up a big 3-run blast to Abby Cheek. Reed squares to bunt. Katie Reed last night had herself a night.
She was one of the only Kentucky hitters really timing things up off the arm of Fagan for Mississippi State. And not only was she timing it up, she was able to take the ball deep. 2 home runs in that matchup, both of them producing 3 runs, and so that 6 RBIs was the difference maker for Kentucky.
Just got under that one, handled by Moore for out number 2, so a couple of fly ball outs induced by Dennis.
With 2 outs for the Cats, your designated
Candice Dennis in the circle has been the difference maker in this game. She's come in each time and really shut things down, giving a very different look from Williams, throwing faster than Williams, so it's disrupted the timing of these Wildcats, and they're being aggressive, but lifting the ball consistently.
Speaking of lifting the ball, Kelsey Henson came in as a pinch hitter and hit a home run, a solo shot in the 4th inning, and when she pinch hit for Tatum Spangler, and Henson has stayed in the game. She earned a second at bat.
And they didn't make that change right after, leaving her in to see if it would provide an opportunity for her to hit again.
And she delivers again, second hit of the game. Cowden easily gets over to third. So Henson delivering off the bench this afternoon.
A little cat daddy action over there at first base. We've seen them do the hit and kittens in years past, but now the celebration for base hits a little bit different for Kentucky. Henson, just a pinch hitter, but I'm anticipating we will see a little bit more of her tomorrow in a starting lineup.
Now a pinch hitter coming up. Bailey Vick, who was grounded out twice. Being lifted for Branson.
Pitch hitting for Kentucky, number 20,
McClay Branson trying to do some damage with 2 outs. What has become a very action-packed game the last 3 innings. It was 1-0 Mississippi State until the 3rd. And then the bats have broken free on both sides.
We usually see this kind of movement in the circle in a game 3 of a matchup. We are seeing a lot of movement in the circle in just game 2, but a ton of offense. 14 runs, showing that both of these teams coming in with very potent swings and just trying to shut them down.
Hanson takes one on the corner for a strike. That is lifted towards the shortstop and handled by Gels. to end the inning. But a good inning. Abby Cheek getting closer to the home run record with a 3-run shot draws Kentucky to within 2. Home Run Festival, Spexarth with the grand slam starting things off for Mississippi State. Montana Davidson with the solo shot. And the 2-run shot for Leilua. And then Abby Cheek in the last half inning. He brought in 3 runs. What a different story from last night when Kentucky did the whitewashing.
Shutting things down last night, Mississippi State blanked, but now Mississippi State coming back today and putting up 8 of their own. It's been the long ball. That's the story of this weekend. Who's going to be able to shut down the batter's box? So far, Mississippi State on top in this one.
Mississippi State just 4 hits, accounting for those 8 runs. But relying on the long ball. Sarai New leading things off as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Megan Shorman in the circle for Kentucky in relief of Grace Bauman, who started the game and was lifted after 3 innings of work. New fists that one. Katie Reed, who makes the play, out number 1.
New had found herself putting a lot of pressure on herself in years past, trying to be the big hitter. Hume now up in the pen because of those long balls. We saw her last night come in, be able to shut down the bats of Mississippi State. 4 strikeouts for her, no walks. Just 56 pitches to finish out that game.
So her arm relatively fresh, as you said, with only the 56 pitches last night. Lindsay Gels, the freshman, comes up. Gels 0 for 2 so far in this game. Gels with the chopper. Abby Cheek throws over for the easy second out again. That's very solid left side of this infield defense for Kentucky.
With 2 outs for Mississippi State.
Cheek with a 3-run blast in the bottom of the 5th and goes out. After you hit a big home run, big something like that, was it when you went out to play in the field, were you still kind of juiced up? Did you have to get yourself concentrated back on playing defense, or was it still, hey, look what I just did?
I think more than anything, it settled down your emotions because it made you feel confident, and you play better when you're feeling confident.
So you must have played confident a lot then, back in Arizona.
72 times.
Oh, to be exact. 72 times.
Still not enough to make the record list.
But back in the day with those little pingy bats, that's good work.
For me, it was following behind the national home run leader in Laura Espinosa. So she hit 35 one year, and my best was 28. But that's all I could bust her. But at the same time, we had a murderer's row, similar to what Mississippi State has in Davidson and Leilua and Spexarth today. I mean, just that 3, 4, 5 slot for teams. If you have to pitch to them, it can make it tough.
Lindsey Williams behind 0-2. Shorman handles it, and that is a very good 1, 2, 3 inning. As we head, that's an 8-pitch inning. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th. JT Ginn, who was a first-round pick overall last year, still in the collegiate ranks. He's going to start this afternoon, and that is coming up next year on the SEC Network. Going to start on the Alt Network, Mississippi State at Florida coming up. Both teams getting underway in their SEC baseball seasons. Here we got the Mississippi State softball team winning 8-6 in what has become a slugfest heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. Pam Ward along with Jenny Dalton Hill on a nice sunny afternoon in Lexington. And we've had a ton of offense since the 3rd inning.
11 hits between these two programs. So Kentucky leading with 7 hits, Mississippi State with just 4, but it's all about timely hitting. When you get runners on, you've got to be able to push them around, and the Bulldogs able to do that a little bit better today.
Lauren Johnson, the number 9 hitter, leading things off. Candice Dennis continues in the circle for Mississippi State. Second time that she's been brought in from left field. Came back in the 5th inning and got the last 3 outs through the last 4 batters she faced to set down the Wildcats, who threatened after a 3-run shot by Abby Cheek. Dennis in the circle is a transfer from the University of Massachusetts. Johnson ahead 3-1, top of the order coming up after Johnson. Lifts it in the air, and it can't fall into the glove. Grace Dabbs couldn't quite get there, and very aggressive base running as Johnson gets to second. A leadoff double in the 6th.
And it's a mishit. This ball lifted, not intentionally, but it's the aggression out of the box that allows Johnson to get all the way to second base. An aggressive play by Dabbs in left, trying to get there, but she puts her head down to go, knowing that the chance to get to second would be there if that ball would find the grass. So the aggression out of the box makes that an opportunity, and now Johnson in scoring position for Kentucky.
Just a huge play on that blooper, because here comes Shaper and the top of this Kentucky lineup. Did damage in the top of the 5th inning. Shaper walked. Kowalik got a bunt single, and then Cheek hit a 3-run homer to clear the bases.
Shaper has gotten on base via the free pass today, so now going to work the count, but try to put a charge in one to get another run for Kentucky.
And she does just that, finding the green. And Kentucky holds Johnson at 3rd. Shaper's first hit puts runners on the corners with nobody out.
That ball found the green quickly, but she didn't really square it up. Off the end of the bat, this one just dies over the head of the shortstop. Catmore comes up with a good throw. Sarai will cut it off. But Johnson has to stay and see that that ball gets in. Christine Himes over there at 3rd base holds her up. And now Kentucky in a great situation. They've got the tying run on 1st base and speed on the corners.
And Kowalik coming up, followed by Cheek, who hit the home run last time up. And Van Studeman has made a lot of changes this afternoon, and looks like she's fixing to do another one. Runners on the corners, nobody out. That 2-run lead hanging in the balance.
And you notice it's still the early in conference season, and so Grace Fagan will come into the circle and change things up. Able to do very well in the circle. Yesterday, coming in, striking out 5, but it was the timely hitting of Katie Reed that really put the nail in the coffin for Fagan. She was able to handle most of the Kentucky hitters. For Fagan, she will step in and throw right around that 60-mile-an-hour mark. She pitches to every quadrant, but it's spin that she's going to have to rely on. She doesn't get down in the circle. She uses that failure that she has and will learn from it. Short-term memory, which is a great quality for a pitcher in the circle, comes away learning a lot from yesterday's performance. Expect her to stay away from Reed today.
Absolutely. So Fagan coming in to pitch, the lefty, and that puts Candice Dennis again back out in left field. So she goes from the circle back out to left field.
Well, that's what you want in your pitchers. You want them to be well-rounded. Dennis, a great defender. She puts her out in left, and because she's able to play another defensive position, her bat doesn't have to come out of the lineup either. And so it's a great move for Mississippi State to be able to put her out in left. That will take Grace Dabbs out of left Candice Dennis will take over that responsibility again where she started this game, and Fagan comes into the circle trying to keep Kentucky from evening this one up.
Very crucial part of this game right now. The part of the lineup up for Kentucky. Down by 2. They were down 6-0 heading into the bottom of the third, scratching their way back. Kayla Kowalik on base a couple of times today with balls that don't leave the infield. Shows bunt. Fagan last night threw 82 pitches as she went 4 innings, and she did fairly well except for when she faced Katie Reed, who went deep on her twice for 3-run shots.
You'll notice that defense all playing in, trying to protect this run, Lauren Johnson over at third base. But because they are in, expect Kowalik to really put a charge in one. She is a 3-tool hitter in the box. She can swing away. She has power. And right now, Mississippi State leaving themselves very vulnerable because of their defensive set.
Kowalik does have 10 extra base hits this year, but no home runs. And the ball goes into center field. A defensive mistake brings in run number 7.
This run from third should score because of the placement of this throw. It is in the dirt, but as a shortstop, you have to be able, or as a second baseman, you have to be able to field that like a catcher, block it up and prevent any more advancements. That throw a little bit off by Mia Davidson to the right side of the bag, but as a second baseman, you got to block it up to prevent further damage.
Kowalik swings through, so the throwing error allows the 7th run to come in. And it also moves Shaper all the way over to third base. Nobody out, so the tying run is on third, and the tying run is on home plate right now. Another extra base hit, trying to leg it into a triple, and Kowalik is safe. Kayla Kowalik with the hustle triple ties up the game.
We talked about how the defensive set made Mississippi State vulnerable. Kat Moore in center field was pulled way over behind the shortstop slot out in the outfield. It's because of that defensive position that this ball is able to create so much havoc. Not only does she drive in a run, but because this ball goes all the way to the wall, Kowalik has so much speed, is able to leg it out, reading Christine Himes before she gets to second base, able to pick up that slide, get that ball, interrupt the throw, and also give Kowalik an opportunity to be in scoring position and put Kentucky ahead just one hit away, and power at the plate with Abby Cheek.
Last time she was up, Cheek hit a mammoth 3-run home run. There's still nobody out. Kowalik's team-leading 4th triple of the season. And you see Cheek is 1 away from tying the career record. That's hit on the ground. Kowalik stays put, now runs on the throw, and she is safe. Cheek has got it on the ground, and that was enough to get Kowalik with some daring base running home.
So Cheek puts this ball on the ground, and known to hustle out of the box, gets herself down the line as fast as she can. But it looks as though there is a problem at first base. The out was recorded, but the throw, Abby Cheek, we talked about that aggression down the line, keeping in your line and getting all the way through. He's calling safe, but I don't know if that's because of an obstruction. She is not safe at first base. The out is recorded at first base, but I think the conversation has to do with the throw coming home. Did she interfere with the throw coming home? So the out is recorded over at first, but recognize where Abby Cheek is in the line. Coming down the line, she is inside the baseline. She is in the way of the throw. That is not allowed in our sport. You have to be in the running lane. Because of that, it interrupts the throw of Sarai New coming home. That allows the run to score. Mia Davidson unable to get the ball out of the sky and bring it back down. but that's the conversation happening between the umpires and Mississippi State at the moment.
And you can understand why Mississippi State's coaches are upset. Tyler Bratton is there, along with head coach Van Studeman.
And I'm going to have to say I would agree with Mississippi State on this one. Because of that running lane, Abby Cheek is required to stay within that running lane, and right now interrupts that play coming home. That gives Kentucky the lead, but you have to make sure that you stay in the running lane.
There's the collision rule.
And that's a lot of words.
It is, it's a lot.
But you've got to make sure that the runner cannot attempt to dislodge the ball by being in the way of that play, and that's what Abby Cheek did. She got in the way of the play by not being in the runner's lane.
And she also did not attempt to avoid a collision. She could go to that bottom line too.
Correct. You have to make sure that you try to avoid a collision. If you are in the runner's lane, that is your lane. You have to stay there. But she was not in that runner's lane. I'm not agreeing with this call by the umpires.
I'm with you too, but the run counts. A big run it is because it gives Kentucky the lead. All 9 of their runs scored in the last 4 innings. And you were talking earlier about how you want your runner going to first to take that base, to be aggressive, but that was excessive. She was not in the running lane. And Kentucky's fortunate that run counted.
She was in the field of play. She was already out, so she needed to make sure not only was she in the running lane, but she had to take herself out of that play because she was already out.
And that was the first out of the inning. Bases are empty now. But Alex Martins sends one straight back. Mississippi State led this game 6-0. And then 8-3 at one point. Kentucky had not trailed in an SEC game this year as they just tore through South Carolina last weekend. They won 8-0 last night, and they were down big in this game and have come back.
This is a big momentum shift for Kentucky.
Dancing in the dugout for the Wildcats. Called strike 3 on Martins.
This pitch nips the corner, and that's the goal of the Mississippi State pitchers. They want to make the ball move through the zone. They don't want to throw to a spot. They want to always see the ball moving through the zone. Van Studeman, a pitcher herself, takes the responsibility of these pitchers and talks about how sometimes these pitchers leave the ball a little bit too big.
Fagan is the 4th Bulldog pitcher we have seen this afternoon. Mallory Payton steps in, looking for her first trip to one of the bases this afternoon. And looking ahead to the 7th inning for Mississippi State, they will have their top of the order coming up. Williams drifts over, gets the final out, but another big inning for Kentucky.
Lauren Johnson, the hustle, makes the beginning of this inning important. It's Kowalik that would capitalize with a triple. And then a little bit of a mishap. Mississippi State has a miscue. And now Kentucky takes the lead.
Welcome back to Lexington, Kentucky, as we go to the top of the 7th inning. A huge turn of events in the last couple of innings. 6 runs plated by the Wildcats to take a 9-8 lead. They were down in this game, and they were trying to cap this off now, just 3 outs away from taking the first 2 games of the series. Pam Ward along with Jenny Dalton-Hill. This has been kind of a wacky game this afternoon, Jenny.
Well, welcome to the SEC. I mean, it's just opening weekend for Mississippi State. Kentucky has a series under their belt. They swept South Carolina last weekend, but hold hold your hat, because not only is the wind going, but you've got a lot of offense here.
And the top of the order, Dennis, first pitch swinging. Bailey Vick with the shades on, grabs it for out number 1.
Bailey Vick has done a great job of anchoring that left field slot. That had been a vulnerable spot for Kentucky for a lot of years, but with the addition of Bailey Vick into this lineup 3 years ago, she has stayed in that slot and really done a good job in the outfield. But the top of the lineup for Mississippi State is where we've seen a lot of action and a lot of run production here in today's game.
Yeah, Vick manning that left field spot since her freshman season. Kat Moore with 1 away. Mia Davidson on deck. The big hitter for Mississippi State. And the fans here at John Kropp Stadium hoping for 2 more outs. Foreman goes upstairs with that pitch.
This has been a very dangerous part of the lineup for Mississippi State. They have put a lot of runs up on the board in this 2-3-4 slot. So looking for them to just push one around to give themselves an opportunity in the bottom half of this inning.
Trying to get base runners on, obviously, for people like Davidson and Leilua. Kentucky holds on. This will be their biggest comeback of the season. They were down 6, and they had been 0-4 this year when trailing after 5 innings like they were today.
I love that hack by Kat Moore. This team is known for their fight and their grit. They had the 428 challenge in honor of Alex Wilcox sitting on the wall. You saw that get all over the country and build momentum not only for awareness of ovarian cancer, but also show the fight that Alex Wilcox gave. And this team has really encompassed that and taken it into this season. So their mantra, we don't get off the wall. Shorman trying to come against this Mississippi State team who doesn't want to go away.
Full count to Moore with Davidson on deck. Kentucky trying to extend their winning streak to 10 in a row. Here's Mia. 14 home runs, tied for the lead, not just in the SEC with Alyssa DiCarlo, but in the entire United States. Got her! Looking, 2 outs.
And in this at-bat, Kat Moore was fighting, but this ball left too big. I did not expect to see her hold up on that pitch. She had been really timing things up, but freezes her and gets the strikeout.
Third strikeout for Shorman, who came in relief of Grace Bauman, who started. And now Davidson has been hit by a pitch her last 2 at-bats on that elbow guard she wears on her left arm. All right, so 2 outs, nobody on. You're only up 1. You still want to be really, really careful here because 1 swing can tie it up.
Mia Davidson has been on via the free pass all day long. A walk in her first at-bat, hit in her second too. And so right now, I do not expect to see anything good from Mia Davidson.
Just fouled that one back. Leilua on deck had a 2-run shot, her last at-bat. And hit that off of Shorman. One now to Davidson. Takes it up high in the zone. Davidson and Leilua, 2 of the top home run hitters in the entire nation, combining for 27. Jesse Harper still doing damage at the University of Arizona. They've had some good hitters go through Tucson there in the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Hey now. Coach Candrea started in 1986 and has put together quite the battery in his time there.
Finally, they're doing upgrades to that stadium too, by the way.
Beautiful.
All right, here's a 3-1 pitch to Davidson. Shouldn't be anywhere near the strike zone. It was! She went right after her! And how about Shaper behind the plate was so excited she jumped up like it was the third strike.
That's how you know you're in the moment. I wouldn't expect to see this ball up in the zone either, and that one got left big. Mia Davidson missed an opportunity. I mean, I don't know how she missed that because that really was in her wheelhouse.
Wow, now it's a full count. Pops it up. Foul territory. Payton, ball game. What a comeback for Kentucky. They were down by 6 in this game. 7 runs in the last 3 innings, and they take it.
Amazing performance by Kentucky. 11 hits in this game, out-hitting Mississippi State. But timely hitting wins this one.
So they take it 9-8. So long from Lexington. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern. For Jenny Dalton-Hill, I'm Pam Ward. Time now for SEC baseball as Mississippi State takes on Florida in Gainesville.